Let's take you straight across to all that will be happening in Parliament today. Remember, Parliament is functioning both Saturday and Sunday, keeping the COVID, this entire unprecedented session in mind. And the three controversial farm bills will be brought up for voting and for other discussions in Rajya Sabha today. Now, on its own, the government lacks the majority in the upper house and is at this point cobbling up numbers to get the bill through the upper house. Remember, the total strength of the house is, as of today, 243. The required majority is 122. Opposition at this point has about roughly 100 at this moment. So the key parties which could hold perhaps the ultimate key to what will and which way this bill will actually go seem to be those coming from the south of the country. And let's explore that a little bit. We've got Sunil Prabhu joining us to give us a perspective on what those numbers in Parliament will look like. We've got Sukirti Dwivedi who will tell us why exactly farmers continue to protest despite the assurances coming in from the Prime Minister. Sunil, to you first, how are the numbers looking in Rajya Sabha?
Well, Sonal, I was just hearing those numbers, and really you have to also discount the fact that many members of parliament have taken leave of absence. Many members of parliament have been quarantined, and so those numbers are going to change drastically. Having said that, even the Congress concedes that they don't have the numbers in terms of the fact that many of their members of parliament are staying away from this session because of the fact that there is this pandemic and there is the fear of COVID and the coronavirus. Of course, today is a historic day, both in the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. From what I can recall, I've never seen a Sunday session. So in that sense, it will be a big first, Parliament functioning on a Sunday. Having said that, of course, these three farm bills are slated to be passed. The Biju Janata Dal has issued a whip. They are told that they'll take a decision on the floor of the House, but that actually means for those who need to read between the lines that they will be supporting the Narendra Modi government on these bills, despite saying in the Lok Sabha they wanted to send to a standing committee. The TRS, of course, is opposing, but the YSR Congress, the AIDMK, all have come forward in supporting the government in these farm ordinances. So the One Nation, One Farm bill, as well as the essential commodities, as well as the contract farming, are all slated to go through. There will, of course, be a registered protest by like-minded parties from the Congress to the Trinamool to the left parties, amongst others. They will ask for it to be sent to a select committee for further deliberations, but that's unlikely to see the light of day. And what we have been made to understand, both from the opposition as well as government managers, that they will be able to get these bills through.
All right. So government at this point seems positive of being able to pull through this bill on the blockbuster Sunday that they're sitting on to look at these farm bills. So Kirti, but coming to you, while the government and the politics over this is happening, perhaps a lot of people are wondering and not enough attention has been given to what exactly is the issue that the farmers hold against this bill. Now, repeated assurances have also come from the Prime Minister where he said that this is fake news being spread, propaganda being spread. But farmers seem to only be escalating their protest. Tell us more about that.
Well, the farmers' biggest fear is that the mandi system that they've been used to for the last several years, that is going to be done away with, and they will now, the private players will step in. The government says that it is allowing deregulation. It will allow farmers to directly sell off their produce to these private players. But the fear that the farmers have is that the minimum support price will no longer exist, and that is the one thing that guarantees them income even in the worst of times, irrespective of how bad the weather has been and whether their produce has failed. Even then, they get this minimum support price. Now, with the private players stepping in, the minimum support price would no longer exist, and the entire mandi system, which has the middlemen, many of these middlemen are the ones upon whom farmers depend in order to take several times farm loans so that they can start sowing their crops, and then once the produce is there, then they return the money back. But now this entire middleman system is also going to end, and especially the biggest problem being with the fact that the minimum support price would be done away with, and the fear that these private players, these big companies, when they start stepping in, they will try to take over everything. In fact, even fears that that the farmers may tend to lose their land ownership. However, the government continues to defend itself, saying that the contracts are have been laid down really well. All the regulations are in place. The big companies will not ending up taking away the farmland of the farmer, so you do not lose your ownership. It is only regarding your produce and not regarding your land ownership. So the bill has nothing to do with how much land you own, but the way you sell your produce. So that mechanism, that process is going to be changing now, and the farmers have nothing to fear. But the farmers, on the other hand, definitely big fears about minimum support price and the entire mandi system on which they've depended on for decades. That being lost is a big fear.